So, welcome to another school safety Substack session. I'm Rosalia Rivera. I'm the founder of Consent Parenting. If you're new to me, welcome. Today, I wanted to just pop in. I'm starting to do Substack Lives every week for paid subscribers. And if you are a free subscriber, you're welcome to join today and ask questions. These actually do go into the archive. So although they are live now, if they go into the archive, they will be for paid subscribers as well. So it's another benefit of joining is if you can't make a live, you can always watch the replay afterwards. So thanks for joining. Hey, Veronica, I see that you joined. Hello, hello. Please say hello and let me know that you're here. I think you can do this just the same as with Instagram, where you can write a question in the messages section there. So I welcome you to do that. So if you have a question, feel free to post it there. But I did have a question that came in that I wanted to answer for anyone who is maybe dealing with a similar situation. So this parent has a child who is neurodiverse and not super verbal. So some challenges there in communication. They've been teaching their child about body safety. Their child is almost 5, and they take the bus to school. And this parent is concerned about the safety of the support person that is on the bus. So there is a bus driver and there is a bus monitor, and that bus monitor usually sits towards the front with the younger students. So the way that the bus has been organized is that older kids sit in the back and younger kids sit in the front. It's not assigned seating, but they do have sort of sections. If you're a parent and your child goes on the bus, this is good information for you to know and be aware of, particularly if your child is a lot younger. Is like, first of all, is there a bus monitor? Or if there isn't a bus monitor, do they have cameras? They typically do now. But that's a whole other, conversation in terms of, first of all, if the bus company is monitoring that, if they're reviewing any of the footage. Usually they don't unless there's an incident. And I believe most bus companies only keep up to 1 to 2 weeks of footage that they've recorded. Should an incident have happened, they may be able to see it. And again, this even depends on like the angle of the recording. So if there is no bus monitor, there typically is a recording device, and you should be able to access that footage for at least 2 weeks from any incident happening. But in this particular case, there is a bus monitor. So therefore, that bus does not turn on the recording device with the bus monitor, which I think is a mistake. I think it should still be on and it should still be recording, even if there is a human bus monitor on the bus. And I'll explain why in a minute. Sorry, I got to get some tissue here. It's hopefully not getting a cold. Excuse me. Okay. So this parent reached out and said that she has suspicions about this bus monitor being unsafe because of either things that she's witnessed herself or things that her child has kind of mentioned. And she is concerned because it seems like there's grooming going on, and she's not sure how to address it or what kind of evidence to report because there's nothing concrete. So the suspicions that she's seen are that, for example, the bus monitor always welcomes the child onto the bus and like, has them sit in a specific place. Like, she's kind of noticed this is, like, always the seat that they take, even though there isn't assigned seating, and she's noticed, like, kids will sit in different spots a lot of times, but, like, it seems to always be in this particular seat, and she's managed to find out that this bus monitor sits with her child every time, and she's not sure she's comfortable with that. She's like, "My kid has other friends on the bus. I don't understand why the bus monitor sits with my child." So that's one. Two is that the bus monitor has been known to give many kids, not just her own, but many kids, like, treats like candies, or other treats that were not approved by parents. So she ends up finding out that this guy gave her kid some kind of candy, like he either consumed it before he got off the bus to go back home, or he just told the child, like, you know, if your parents find out that you're getting candy, then they're not going to let you get it anymore, and I'm going to get in trouble. So, secret keeping. So that's a huge red flag that she's like, what the hell, and she's actually mentioned this particular situation of the candy to the school, and the school's like, doesn't think it's a big deal. It's like, so he's giving, like, you can just tell him, don't give my kid candy. But she's like, no, it's the fact that he's told my child to not say anything is the red flag more than giving the candy, although that's also a grooming sign. So there's two situations there. The other is that this person shows her kid videos that are supposedly cartoon videos, but she can't be certain, again, because her child gives her limited information and she doesn't want to, like, press him too hard. So, but she feels like this is inappropriate, it's unsafe, like, this person should absolutely not be showing my child anything on his phone, whether it is a safe, cartoon or a, age appropriate kid content. Like, why is he even doing that? Right. And so all of these are very sort of surface level grooming things that she's like, I've mentioned it to the school and they don't think much of it. Like, they kind of think that I'm exaggerating, and then I'm reading into it. And on top of it, my child really likes this person, and they think that he's such a nice guy. And he also seems to help on other buses that are for children with physical disabilities. So she's also concerned that this person is potentially, like, taking advantage of these other uh, children. So I just want to say, if you've ever been in a situation like that where it just seems like it's not egregious enough, or it's like something's off, but anytime that you've mentioned it to anybody, they're like, that's not really a big deal. Or, like, maybe you're just, reading into it. Go with your gut and don't be dismissed. Don't allow yourself to be dismissed. Don't allow yourself to be gaslit, because that's exactly what offenders want, is that it's just borderline, and it doesn't, it can't be used to accuse them. And so they know how to, like, just walk that fine line of, like, inappropriate and appropriate. So my advice in a situation like this for a parent like this, and this is what I shared with her, is that this is something that you want to document, and not just share it in conversation with, like, a school principal or something. This is something that you want to document and really clarify the information of why these are red flags. So I'm a really big fan of, particularly for school officials, when you give them concrete documentation that supports your suspicions, such as, for example, documents or website links from organizations that talk about what grooming is, you can then link your suspicion to that verified information. So, as an example, Darkness to Light is an excellent website with lots of really good resources. You can look up grooming on their website, or if you search up documents that talk about grooming, for example, Duck Duck Groom, this book, if you can go to her website, Anna Sonoda, and look up, information about grooming, grooming red flags. I have a PDF that you can download for free that talks about grooming red flags. If you send that along in a written email document so that you have a paper trail, you have a paper trail, and you send that to a school and say, here are my concerns, is what I'm seeing. And this is verified through this organization that these are clear red flags that are inappropriate behaviors that adults should not be doing with kids, particularly in a school setting. Then they will take that much more seriously and will recognize that because you have now created a paper trail to have a complaint about this, they're going to take it that much more seriously. So, number one, that's super important to highlight and have some kind of either link or PDF document. The Moore Center for the Prevention of Child Sexual Abuse also has a really amazing guide for schools and youth serving organizations that also explains how to increase your policies for safety, how to reduce the risk for abuse happening at your location. And also, if you use the word liability, I've talked about this before in my Prepare to Prevent programs with parent cohorts to say this is a really key word that we want to use when we are talking about, problematic situations and the liability that could be. Now, in a bus situation, I also want to say most schools are going to say this is a bus issue. We don't deal with that. So then you would say, okay, great. Please send me the information of who I should contact to and make this report to from the bus company. And then you want to connect with that person, ideally, again, via email. So you have a paper trail. And you want to copy the school administrators, whether that's the principal or if it needs to go up to the school board, and then address it there. And start, don't, I would say be relentless in that situation, particularly if you don't have the option of removing your child from that bus. Now, the other thing that I want to recommend is to have a conversation with that bus monitor, right? So when you arrive, to stand up and get in the bus, and you can have this conversation even in front of the bus driver. One of the things that Anna Sonoda talks about in her book Duck Duck Groom is to confront someone who is displaying grooming behavior in front of another adult, so that there is some auditory accountability. Someone else has heard you have this conversation. This can even be part of what you share in your communication with this bus company, is to say, I've addressed it with the individual as well, but I feel like other children are not safe around this individual. Or you can ask questions about how was this individual vetted? Were their references checked? Criminal backgrounds checked? Just you want to inform them of, first of all, what's happening, but also ask them questions about how they hired and vetted that individual. So have the conversation in front of the bus driver with this person and say, I was informed that you're giving candy to, or I witnessed, you can even say I witnessed if you don't want to get your own child into a weird situation there. I've witnessed that you've given candy out to kids on this bus. I, as a parent, do not approve of that, and I find it a gross violation to do that without asking parents if that's okay for multiple reasons. So I'm asking that you do not do that any longer to any kids on this bus. Now, some parents might feel like that is really hard to do and it feels really confrontational. Maybe this is a situation where you can let other parents on the bus know, and you and another parent can approach this person. And you don't have to do it in a way that is like harsh and confrontational, but you can do it in a way that is firm and sets a boundary. The other piece is to say, um, my understanding is also that, my child said you were sharing videos with them. That's also inappropriate. Please do not do that anymore. So you've essentially like sounded the alarm. My child is not a target, and I am not going to let you continue grooming them, essentially. Now, ideally, in a situation like this, if you're really feeling like this is an unsafe person, I don't want them to be around my child, then definitely take them off of the bus if that is an option that you can choose. That would be my go-to. If I have the option, I would just remove them from the bus because there's too many red flags there. And especially if the school or the bus company are not taking action, unfortunately, sometimes they don't until an incident happens. And you certainly don't want your child to be the incident that happens, right? So, um, I know that some people are like, but they didn't do anything and I don't have proof and I don't have any, the option to remove them. Well, then those are the other steps that you take. You talk to the school, you talk to other parents on the bus, you, of course, talk to your child and let them know, you know, if they want to show you a video, here's what you say, right? So you give them scripts and you say, my mom doesn't allow me to watch videos. If that person says, oh, it's okay, it can be our secret, then that means that they're not a safe person because safe people don't ask kids to keep secrets. And you just tell him, no, thank you. And do not watch what he shows you. Do not take gifts and candies because maybe he's a tricky person and he didn't ask me if it was okay. And he's asking you not to tell. And that, again, is a secret. So you want to arm your child with that information. So there's multiple steps that you would want to take in a situation like this, right? Talking to the school, talking to the bus company, talking to the individual themselves, and of course, talking to your child. So those are my recommendations for a situation like that. Okay, I hope that that was helpful. And wow, I just realized that that was almost 20 minutes. So usually I keep these lives short so that they're easy to watch or listen to on a playback. And I usually do 20 to 30 minutes depending on if there are any questions, but I don't see any other questions here. So I'm going to sign off and let everybody get back to their day. But I just want to say thanks for being here. I hope that you decide to subscribe to this Substack on school safety. And if you have parents that you know could benefit from this information, please be sure to share it with them. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, guys.